Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out New Little King's story. This was fairly recently taken off the PlayStation Store and the online servers are due to go down, so I thought I'd better come and get this video done while they were still up. However, well, let me just put it this way. There are a few things that have come together to make me not want to put any more time into this. The first thing is obviously Flashpoint, but there are a couple of other things too, like the fact that I'm completely directionless right now, and that, well, we'll get into why the rest of the game isn't particularly great shortly. But I've only put about 2 hours into it so far, which isn't enough. I am aware that there are some mechanics I simply haven't seen yet, like certain different troop roles and, certain gameplay mechanics like rescuing princesses and the whole dating mechanic behind them, but I have gotten a fairly big dose of the core gameplay, and I think that's enough considering the circumstances. So there's your warning. If you want something a little bit more in-depth about this game, please go watch another video or read a review or something. This is just what I think after having played the first 2 hours of it, which I fully admit is not enough. So here we are. This is the game. It's laggy as hell. Like, watch the way look at how not stiff. Look at how jerky that camera turning is. That is really bad. And it is like that throughout most of the game. You are not going to find a part of this game which runs even remotely smoothly, which is a massive disappointment, because you wouldn't think this game would be too hard to run on this little platform, but apparently it is. Those little pokes that you see on the middle right of the screen there, that's me tapping the rear touchpad. That does not go away, as far as I can tell. So, you have a town that you can run around in, and the way it works is you recruit dudes to work in your army by going up to them and pressing circle, and they will join on your party. However, the only way you can do that is by rejecting dudes if you're at the maximum limit. So as you can see, he's wandering off there. And now I've got 2 carpenters, a digger, and some soldiers. You do also have regular old people walking around. You pick them up, which I will do. You pick them up using the circle button. And then you can make them charge. In order to make them select the dudes you actually want to charge, you actually have to put them at the front of the line with the triangle button, which is kind of hard to see. Then if you press the square button, you'll make them charge, and if you send them into the right building, you'll turn them into that particular unit. Units can also be equipped with different items and weapons. So if I hit up the menu here, we can go to the items, go to the equipment, and we can see that I've got a bunch of different kinds of equipment here. And we can actually apply that to the individual soldiers. Yes, the individual soldiers. This is entirely unnecessary, and I find it to be really annoying. You pick up things like swords and weapons and armor and what have you. You pick them all up as you go throughout the game, but you have to equip every soldier individually. That means you have to go through and find what's best, what works on the dudes that you have. And if you lose some of your dudes, well, that's just gonna kick you right in the ass, isn't it? Because that means you have to go and equip another new dude. And some of these roles actually cost money to get, and yada, 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 yada. Honestly, it's a massive pain in the ass, and I'm not really that big of a fan of it. You do have this lady you can talk to here, who you can use to craft items by combining certain items that are available to you by finding them in the world. But not only do you need a bunch of citizens and a bunch of resources for that, but you need to wait a certain amount of time, which can actually be reduced by using the network functionality, which just won't work in a few days from the time I record this video. There's really no point in showing it off, because the one time I did try to do it, I didn't actually have the resources to get anything done. So let me show off the gameplay. The general idea is that you need to be sending out dudes with the charge ability, as mapped to the square button. And the general way to attack dudes is just to throw as many dudes at them as possible, more or less, right? Same thing to do with building stuff, and you do the same thing with building stuff, and you do the same thing with, like, digging holes, for example. So I've got a, I wonder why they won't go for it. The diggers are supposed to be the one that goes for that. Oh no, there we go. So now that we've got someone on that, we can actually send in all our dudes to help them out. And that's basically the entire game. if you want me to be perfectly honest. The entire game is just more or less sending dudes at things and watching them work. And I just took the last hit that I could have taken, and I didn't realize that my health was that low. So now we have to continue, and we have to come back here again. God damn it. So that is a massive pain in the ass. We're going to have to start from scratch. Thankfully, I think my royal army is kept previously here. But actually, I'm here, which is a good time to explain this. So if we sit down on the throne, everything we've found will be tallied up. Everything in this game gets converted to gold. There's no, other than weapons, items, and certain key items, everything you find, everything you kill, everything you destroy, like environmental stuff, it all turns into money that you can use to build up your kingdom. You can build things like settlements that'll give you extra blank citizens. You can do different laws, like this one here is perfectly obvious what it does, but it's entirely unnecessary. You can get extra troops along with you. You can build up different places to get you different roles. You get the general idea. You also have a suggestion box, which is where you go to get quests and stuff like that. Nothing particularly out of the ordinary. You do also have a citizen list, but apparently I don't have that yet. You can also check the info of your kingdom. I've apparently got 20 people right now. I haven't run into too many of them, but whatever. You can also come here to save and load. You can also save and load anywhere inside town via the menu. You can't save while you're outside of town, unfortunately, but oh well. So yeah, I got all my dudes back, so really, dying in this game isn't a massive inconvenience, but it's still quite annoying. You need to go find, what was it? You need to go find hot springs, I believe, to heal up your dudes and all that. And you can find them around just by digging some random holes in places, but yeah, other than that, there's no real dedicated way to heal. There are also consumable items that you get, but the consumable items are actually limited. You have to go farming for them, which is honestly surprisingly annoying. So let's try this hole again. You can send multiple dudes into the one spot if someone has already been set up to work on it, but there are also things that, don't let you do this way. Like, for example, if you're building anything, you will... If you send grunt soldiers at something that's being built, it'll actually, like, work the timer back up, which is honestly annoying as hell. And it's just weird little things like that. So let me get back onto the actual, like, core gameplay of this whole thing. So you've got the ability to send troops out and charge enemies. However, there doesn't really seem to be much strategy in it, at least not yet. I mean, like, compare this to a game like Army Corps of Hell, which was actually a game I checked out surprisingly recently, just purely by chance. But the general idea of this game is that there really isn't that much in the way of strategy. You do have a button to immediately recall everybody, and you can choose who to send out at what time. But other than that, there really isn't that much to it. There are different roles you get later on which will let you do things like get archers that will help you hit enemies from high above, but outside of that, there really isn't much to it except just send everything you've got at the enemy, pull them back when they look like they're about to attack so they don't take too much damage, and other than that, not much else. I mean, I've been playing the game for about 2 hours at this point, and I've been waiting for the strategy to get interesting, and it just doesn't. I've mainly been using the send a bunch of dudes at it, wait for the thing to tick down, and then bring them all back and then do the same for the next enemy. And the obstacles work exactly the same. And you don't have that much to do in the way of maneuvering either. Basically, you've just got this gigantic arse of Royal Guard you're carrying around. And I know it sounds weird that I'm saying that, but it is basically your arse. It is a 2x2 column of arse that you are just dragging along, trying to keep out of the way of enemy attacks. They can get hit back there, so you do need to be worried about exactly where you're sending all your dudes. And that is honestly kind of frustrating because it means that you kind of just have to deal with this entire system for a lot longer than you really should. You do have the ability to turn on this cursor with the R button, which basically serves like a sort of automated lock-on, but you have no ability to control what you're locking onto, and that's even more frustrating. You do have the L button to reset your camera, but not by much. And that's basically it. I mean, did I just lose a bunch of my dudes? I did, didn't I? Yep, they all fell down the cliff because I have an absolutely massive ass. Oh boy. Might as well heal up while I can while I'm here. I'm gonna have to go down and get me mates. So, everybody out. Oh, looks like we've got a story cutscene. Or a boss, I'm guessing. Yep. It's a boss, alright. So, time to fight it out, more or less. Same basic drill. It's got attacks. Generally, they'll be, fuck me, what's the word for it? Communicated. So, you know, you'll know when they're coming. But, for the most part, don't really have much to do except send dudes in and hope I get it right. The general idea is that you want to do as much damage as possible. You do have the ability to get in there and attack yourself, but as you can see, you are likely to get hit if you do. Alright, everybody back on me, because they've got some artillery backup, which is surprisingly annoying. Alright. Well, never mind, we lost Lamont. I really don't know what else to do except run around and throw dudes at the problem. That is more or less all I can do at this point. I could get some archers to help me out with the dudes up the front there, but the problem with that is... Oh, Jesus. Let's get some healing going on. It's not going to help much, but... Means I'll still have at least some dudes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just want to send some dudes in and get rid of that bloody front guard that he has, but it ain't really helping me out this time. But yeah, this is basically how everything in the game goes. You just wait. You send stuff at it, you wait, and then you just throw more dudes at the problem. That's basically it. There doesn't seem to be anything really interesting in the way of strategy. I mean, compare it to, as I said, Army Corps of Hell, which is a surprisingly in-depth game for everything that it does. You have plenty of options with what to do there. All the dudes feel significantly different, and they, being in any particular mode does actually help you out a lot. So, the nice thing about that game is it felt like it had strategy. This game really just does feel like you're throwing dudes at the problem over and over and over again. So we won the fight, which means generally our kingdom will expand a little. And we'll get like extra development plans, maybe a little bit of speech, which I can't hear because I don't have my sound on right now. I apologize for that. There is some English voice acting, but it's not really that impressive. It feels kind of phoned in, not massively phoned in, just kind of phoned in. And the story is literally just, we lost our kingdom, we got to take it back, and we have to give away some sympathy money because we lost the boss fight, unfortunately. But I mean, that's really all there is to it. I mean, all you do is explore areas, fight off the enemies, and come back. There might be there might be more stuff to it when the princesses come along, but the last 2 hours have honestly been really boring. There's really not that much else. Really? That seems entirely against the point, right. The writing isn't particularly great either. To what I understand, this is meant to be a remake of a game that originally came out on the Wii, and that game was originally localized by Xseed, and honestly, it's kind of surprising that this one wasn't localized by them too. Konami handled this one, which is odd, you know, Konami of all people. Alright, so we've been given an option to go to a festival, which is basically just a thing where you can wander around, look at the sights, and talk to dudes. There doesn't seem to be much else to them other than that. Let's see if we have anything we can actually build. Yeah, screw it. I don't even want to bother. In all honesty, and we're going to go back to sleep again, and that means we end up right back in the bed, and trust me, it's not as interesting as it sounds. It's just a bunch of dudes wearing some potentially unique costumes, doing weird dances. You can't even do anything. If you try to leave town, you'll just get told, hey, are you done with the festival? And when you are, it's just done. Okay, so we do have some more stuff that we can buy now. Make citizens lumberjacks who can break down the large trees, but I don't have the money for it. And the king's plan, no, nothing new there, so I guess the idea is that we have to go and earn some more money, which is literally just go and explore some more territory. That's all there is to it. You build more stuff, you unlock places, and yeah. So if we stand on here, we can call our royal guard over. And that's basically all we can do right now. But thankfully we can recruit people, and we can still recruit people. I can carry around more dudes, but that just means I've got a bigger ass to worry about. Which I'm honestly not that big of a fan of, because toting around that many people means I've just got a bigger ass to worry about. Hi. Hello. You can come with me. And there are some people you can't recruit, like the traveling watchmen and whatever. Music men, whatever they call them, sorry. As you can see, I've kind of lost all interest. The base gameplay doesn't really appeal to me. The performance is really bad. The story is nothing, at least not yet. And wow, I was actually too close. That happens a lot. No, I don't want you, damn it. I have to reorganize everything. That means I have to suck through every job until I get to the empty one, and then I can bring along a grunt soldier, because, yeah. And then I have to reorganize them again to make sure my 6 grunts are up front. And pay me like one of your French girls. Right there in the middle of the bloody road. God, my kingdom is lazy. Right. Continuing on then, we'll see if we can find where we need to go next, because notably, this game doesn't actually give you that much, prompting where you need to go next. It just kind of says, like, go find the next area on your own, and the one map that you do get is absolutely useless. You do not have any accepted quests. Triangle to expand. This map doesn't really help out that much. It doesn't give you, like, a prompt on where to go next or anything. It's just there. So, you know, great. I guess we just have to go and see if we can find a, another place to go. Light off a couple more dudes, but you've seen everything that I've seen up to this point. The rather lack of strategic combat, the general just annoyances around the place, like having to equip all your dudes individually, having to cover the same ground, the general pain in the ass progress meters. I completely missed that. Everybody back. Oh, right. I can actually build something there now. Okay, everybody back. Builder is there. You go do that. And I get all my builders to attack while that's being built there. And now I just have to wait for it because I didn't bring along enough builders. But the problem is, I didn't want to bring along more builders because that means I have less room for soldiers. Soldiers are better for taking out enemies, but yeah, it's just, I have no interest. I have no interest in bothering to maintain the sort of balance I would need to make all this stuff happen quickly. I can't send anyone else along to help except maybe the farmer, because it would just destroy everything. It's a shame. I like the concept, but it just doesn't seem to be particularly good at realizing the concept. Combine that with all the annoying micromanagement you'd have to do, and just the general slow pace of exploring the land, waiting for the progress queues to finish and whatnot. It's just I can't recommend it. I honestly don't see the point. I'm not actually enjoying it that much. Wow, really? Not one of you figured out how to get on the dude's head.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic job, fellas. Mission accomplished.
Yes, sir.
What I don't get is why they couldn't have made this happen, like, instantly if there were no enemies around. Like, just send them out. If something comes up, it'll just pop up immediately instead of making me wait, like, 10 to 15 seconds for every bloody stage or whatever it is I'm trying to do, right? I don't see the point. Just kill him, please. Alright, now that everybody's in there, or at least the people who can actually do anything are in there, now I have to wait. Oh, damn grunts. They're useless. Treasure! So I assume that would give me the money I need to build the lumberjack place, which would let me knock down the trees, which would let me continue on to the next set of areas and what have you. It's easy to understand. And I can't go around there despite the fact that it kind of looks like I'd be able to fit if I wasn't dragging a 2-column line of arse behind me. So, yeah. Look, that's pretty much it. That's all I've seen at this point. You've seen pretty much everything there is to see at the moment, and I'm just not that impressed. I don't want to play it anymore. More or less. I find the game to be quite boring. It adds a lot of needless time wasting and micromanagement that I find to be completely unnecessary. And I mean, if that wasn't there, maybe I'd say it'd be alright, but you know, the amount of time I feel like I've been wasting waiting for meters to go down and all that just really turns me off it. That's basically all I've got to say about this game at this point. And the bad performance really just brings it on home, and the general lack of strategic gameplay at this point. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty much all I've got to say on the matter. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.